But we have a really exciting guest today, and I'm going to challenge him a little bit on things because I got some questions. Luke from Lukenosis, an amazing hypnotist that can help with anxiety, smoking, addiction, and I don't smoke. I do all those other things. So I'm really interested to see how this works and what you do. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, if I could just make the disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, although I play one on the internet. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, me too.
Yes. Luke Michael Howard, I run a hypnosis company called Lukenosis Hypnosis for 25 years now. Main purpose, I work with a lot of what people in my industry regard as difficult cases, people that have failed with other hypnotists, counselors, psychotherapists, people that have had, people that have spent. By the way, am I allowed to use explicit language with you, or is it PG? I should ask you, Alison, before
Oh,
I
yeah,
start.
go ahead, swear away.
All right, cool, lovely. So people who spend a shitload of money, we're talking like 100 grand a pop in America, to go to multiple rehabs where it's a beautiful, glorified country club, if you will. But they came out, and the first thing they did is they went to the bar across the street and had some drinks. So people that have really worked other systems that haven't worked for them because it hasn't got to the root of it. So I work with lots of different issues, but typically people with addictions. And for me, everything is an addiction, and not all addictions are created equally, and all an addiction is a behavior. So if I've got someone as a heroin addiction, it's no different than if someone is addicted to alcohol. They're addicted to a toxic relationship, they're addicted to sugar, they're addicted to porn, they're addicted to patterns inside their brain that keep looping, that does not serve them. So for me, everything is an addiction, but addiction doesn't have to be a big scary thing that we're not empowered to overcome. For me, the addiction is just a pattern in the mind, in the body, in the semantic system, that hasn't been dealt with yet, hasn't been dealt with in the right way. And when you have a better strategy to deal with it, oftentimes the addiction disappears. Often clients will come to me and they're presenting problem. By the way, the problem is never the problem. Is, Luke, I drink fucking too much. My wife's going to leave me. I've lost the house, lost the kids. Luke, I'm doing so much cocaine. I'm dropping 100 grand a year on cocaine. Oh, my girlfriend's doing it as well, and she's dropping 100 grand as well. And I realize that's why they're coming into me. That's the presenting problem. But I very rarely will deal with that, because underneath it, I don't know if you have this little game. I think you do. I think it's around the world. Jenga, like the little game with the blocks and drinking. So
Yeah.
I'm not doing a commercial for them. I make no money for it. But I presume, for me in my world, I imagine people's problems are like a Jenga game. Now, if they come to me and their reporting problem, presenting problem is they claim to be addicted to cigarettes, they can't overcome it. Most people would go to the top block. Well, oh, they're coming in, they're addicted to cigarettes. Let's just remove that block. The block named cigarettes, the block named alcohol, the block named cocaine, the block named heroin. Let's deal with that. And oftentimes, in my experience, as I make my light a bit brighter so I'm not too dark, in my experience, it's a bit like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. That kind of approach doesn't work most of the time. And when it does work, in the rare occasion it does work, it only works for a couple of weeks before their addiction rears its ugly head. So really, my job is to come in. I don't care about the block that's their problem: smoking, addiction, alcohol, toxic ex relationship, obsessive thoughts. I want to find the block, like in Jenga, the drinking game, that when we pull that block out, the whole frigging thing collapses once and for all. So the whole structure that's held up their addiction, their problem, that's disappeared. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was they weren't loved when they were growing up. They were traumatized. They never learned to let go. They never took time to self-love. That sounds a bit sexual, but you know what I mean by that. By giving themselves time, giving themselves some self-care, whatever that may be, whatever they felt that they've missed consciously or unconsciously in their mind. So when we pull that down, the whole structure, the thing that was keeping up the addiction, disappears, because they're doing their particular addiction for a reason. And most people have no idea why. Some people do, but most people are just like, Luke, I'm just bored. Luke, I just do it. I don't know. I don't know. But some people are like, Luke, it just numbs me. It just numbs me. It switches off that part of my mind, body, somatic system that stresses out, just so anxious, the suffering. And for that brief time that I do my particular tipple, my particular drug, it numbs me. And I'm like, what happens when it runs out, the effect runs out? All the emotions come back again, come up. Then what do? I'll take more of the drug, push it down, come up, push it down, come up, push it down. And in my experience of that, it not only does it mess up your mind, your body, your psychology, spirit, if you believe in such a thing, but also things get murky, things get confused, and sometimes chronic illnesses come out of nowhere. Cancer, chronic back pain, AIDS, stuff that is like there was no specific thing, but because there was no other way of expressing it, because they keep numbing it with that particular drug of choice, the unconscious, subconscious mind, the bit that emotes the feelings, the bit that stores your memories, the bit that we work with in hypnosis and the kind of healing work that I've done. It's like, oh, so you're not listening to me, the message, so let me create a chronic problem in your body that's really frigging painful, that you're going to feel consistently, like the red alarm, like the alarm bell, there's a fire going off, and maybe you'll stop doing this and you'll listen. So it creates pain in some people's bodies that I work with, but there's no real reason. It's the body, the somatic system, mind, body is like, hey, I need to find another avenue for you to get this message, because dumbass, you ain't getting it when I'm trying to talk to you peacefully. So let me create havoc in your body in the hope that you will fucking get this message and you can heal me.